Warning: this program contains strong language, auditory violence, and mental nudity. It is intended only for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to your uncensored home for World of Warcraft news and opinions. This is Unshackled Fury.
Spring breaks keep rolling on, and someone is playing a fool. We're ready once again to dive deep into the world of Warcraft. So welcome back for episode 162 of your uncensored home for World of Warcraft news and opinions, Unshackled Fury. I'm your host, Berserker, and with me once again is the man who puts Bay into Baywatch, Mr. Jez Corden. Welcome back again, good sir.
Do you do those on the fly, or do you plan them beforehand?
I mean, I planned them minutes before, but
Oh man, well,
creative, but not that creative.
Yeah, I appreciate the intro.
Well, I'm now back from vacation. You had your vacation, I have my vacation, and now if people don't know, Blizzard is on vacation for 2 weeks, so there's not gonna be a lot of stuff happening, I think, right now. So we're still in a little bit of a lull, but thanks for prepping the islands for me, Jez. They were very welcoming on the, I know it's a different island, but very welcoming being out there once again out in the Pacific in the warm, gentle embrace of the weather there. It is phenomenal. I imagine it's probably a starker change for you, but it's still a pretty nice. It's like a hug. It's like a nice warm hug when you get off the plane. You're just like, oh, this is nice,
dude.
It's humid.
When we left Germany in the morning, the car was frozen solid. we had to literally melt the car before we could leave to get to the airport.
Oh, shit.
So
wow.
Yeah, it was quite a stark difference. Yes.
I was like, it's just a little cold here. I didn't have to do that. Oh man. Well, yeah, I was only gone. I mean, I sound like such an asshole saying that, but only gone for a week. But it's nice to get away, and I did pick up a little bit of hardware. I re-pierced one ear and got the other one matching, so now I've got some nice shopping I've got to do. But so let's check it out. See under my ear cuffs here? Yeah, I got some nice.
Oh wow.
Got the black. I got the black studs because
Yeah, smell
metal, bro. Metal. Can't go with rose gold. That's what my wife. She got her seconds on each ear.
Did you do that in a store, or did you do it at home?
So here's the thing. I don't know what they do in Europe, but here in the United States, I don't know if they're still around, but there used to be, or there still is, a jewelry chain, like a store. It's called Claire's. You ever heard of Claire's?
Yeah, it's the same in Europe.
Okay, so they they have the gun, and they do the gun, like a little gun. That's what they do. When little girls go and get their ears pierced. 'Cause predominantly that's who it is. Not everybody, but it's predominantly, all right? And then they use the gun because that's the easiest way to do it, and it's not the best, and it's kind of the antithesis of the whole piercing experience, but that's what was done for a long time. And so when I got my one ear pierced, this would have been 2000. That's what I had done. Me and my buddy went down. He got two, I got one. It just went boom, boom, and they did the thing, and it felt so, so manly in this Claire's getting pierced with a gun. But this time went and got an actual a piercer. If this is of any importance or information to anybody that matters, Zen Tattoo in Kihei on Maui They have a
Uh-huh.
piercer there. She's very nice, and she walked us through the whole. And we did the whole. It was the legit thing, man. It was the whole, the needle and the thing, and we did the whole gimmick, and yeah, it was all legit. So I didn't.
My girlfriend-
do it myself.
Sorry, go on.
No, I was gonna say I didn't do it myself. I had it professionally done.
Well, my girlfriend had her ears pierced at Claire's about 10 years ago. And, she did all the stuff. She had the disinfectant and did it all properly, but still, her ears got really badly infected. And
Ooh.
she's got scar tissue inside her ears. So now she can no longer have ear piercing.
Oh, that is what people talk about.
Yeah, so I don't
that-
think
well-
I'll give Claire's a miss, I think. Next,
I
if
wouldn't
have
do
it.
it. No, I wouldn't do it. The way we did it, I mean, that's the way I would recommend it. And again, times change. It's been a while. It's been 25 years since I had it done, and the rules and the recommendations and the procedures for aftercare are much different. And anyone that's had a tattoo certainly knows that aftercare is very, very critical and important to your recovery.
Sure is.
And so same thing here is she gave us a spray that's, because in the old days it was like you put like rubbing alcohol or whatever it was, and you had to turn them, right? You had to turn them every once in a while so they wouldn't get stuck or, some stuff like that. But now you don't turn them, you don't do any of that stuff. I got the spray. I spray it on a couple times a day, morning and night, or morning, noon, night if I feel like it. And so far, so good. Everything seems to be fine. I mean, I also heal like Wolverine, so as far as I'm concerned, it's probably already done. But don't go to Claire's. If you get anything out of this episode today, don't go to Claire's. So, into some actual like regular agenda item here. Metal album of the week. Jez, we're gonna go back. We're gonna go way back. We're gonna go back before you. We're gonna go back even before me. We're gonna go back to the hallowed days of the 1970s. All the way back to February 10th, 1978, when one of the most seminal albums of any kind ever came out, the self-titled Van Halen. Now, some of you might be going, oh, that's not metal. This is like one of the cornerstone foundations of metal influence. And you can go through the whole the whole album. Every song is a certified banger, but if you haven't listened to it in a while, this is where Eruption comes from, that really famous Edward Van Halen, King Edward, the true King Edward Van Halen. This is where like that very famous tapping ability, right, that he made famous, and that just ripping solo that then kicks into the cover of You Really Got Me. This album, Running with the Devil, straight out of the chute. Jamie's Crying, Atomic Punk, Ice Cream Man, which just has David Lee Roth on full display. It's dynamite. It's one of the best albums of all time.
I'm going to upset you.
But hit it.
I've never listened to Van Halen.
Really?
I don't think so. I've probably heard, because some of their songs it's kind of like the Beatles, right? You think you haven't heard the Beatles, but then you definitely heard the Beatles because the songs are just so famous and ubiquitous. So maybe I have heard a song in a movie or something like that, but I've never actually just sat down and listened to them, dude.
Well, you get a couple different things out of it. The early Van Halen, like this is late 70s, early 80s, the David Lee Roth frontman era, big sound, big attitude. They were all excess all the time. And then David Lee Roth leaves in the mid 80s. Sammy Hagar, who was famous in his own right, with Montrose and solo acts, like he came in as the new frontman, and then the entire vibe of Van Halen changed. They became affectionately, at least in our house, known as Van Hagar, and they had this like kind of softer, I love you, you're my girlfriend, let's hang out, that kind of vibe to like a lot of their songs.
See, that's how I think of them. So I think I just assumed that would be my cup of tea.
I think
So
that's
it's
the
big.
that's the Sammy Hagar influence. I think is getting you on that one. If you go back, pull up this album, Van Halen, just the very first one. Then there's Van Halen 2, and you can go on from there. But I mean, this is quintessential. It's influenced everything that came after it. So
I will
highly
educate
recommend.
myself.
Highly recommend. All right, folks. There you go. Metal album of the week, 1978's Van Halen. All right, I got a very important rage topic we got to get to because we got to follow up on something. So let's get into it.
Let's rage.
Now, Jez, you and I, we do our best to bring what matters to the folks in every episode. We really try to nail down the vibe and the information that we think people need access to. And if we come across something, if there's something that we see or is given to us that crosses our purview, they're like, folks need to know about this, even if it might come at a personal cost, we will do it. And so recently, if you look at the last thing before this episode that was loaded into ye old Unshackled Fury playlist, you may see we had an exclusive leak about a video presentation. This is an audio leak that we got of a video presentation of a new profession coming in midnight related to the neighborhoods and the player housing. They're going to add a third slot spec for professions. They're going to call it realtors if you wanted to take it up, and you could help haggle for houses and set prices for commissions, and it was going to be a whole thing. And then turns out it was fake, Jez.
Oh
Fake.
no!
Oh, I
Damn.
got bamboozled, bro. Bamboozled. Who would do this to us?
I don't know,
mean,
man.
here we are trying to do a public service, and people are taking advantage of us. I can't believe it. I just
It
can't-
happens,
Well,
bro.
all right. I can't believe it. All right, listen. Yes, that was not real. I completely made that. It was AI. And it's scary now how advanced AI tools have become, because let me tell you, I just pulled up any random free one I could find, and they had, I don't know, 50 different sample voices, and you could change the attitudes and the pitches and the tones, and you could do a lot. And so everything I made up, and it did it, and it sounded like that, and I probably could have worked on it for another day or two and made it sound even better. But the AI tools are definitely terrifying.
Yeah, they're a bit freaky, man. It's going to
They
be interesting to
even
see
asked-
what everything looks like in 5 or 10 years. That's for
Well, as they continue to like scoop up voices, because on this one they're like, "Hey, do you want us to sample your voice?" I'm like, "Fuck no." I'm sure somebody already has, because they just pulled through all podcasts on Earth and just started sampling every voice there is.
sure. Yeah, there's no escape, man. No escape.
no. You are you and I even here right now? Are we are you and I even real humans talking, or is
I
this
don't
just
know.
AI?
Have you heard of, simulation theory or panpsychism
simulation
and stuff
theory.
like that?
Yeah.
We all live in a simulation, bro. It's the Matrix. It's kind of scary how many, problematic physics equations seem to work themselves out if you assume that all the dark matter in the universe is actually just part of the simulation, It's scary. It's gonna be scary, bro.
There it is.
Maybe none of this is real. Maybe we're just NPCs in an MMO called Life, being played by aliens. And World of Warcraft is an in-universe MMO from the MMO that we exist in as NPCs. Oh man,
Man,
that's
this is
freaky, bro.
we're getting Inception level deep here. This is freaking me out.
Yeah.
This is a World of Warcraft podcast, I promise. But yeah, we're going deep. going deep on the
Hey.
metaphysical here.
You could take it to the next level. Maybe the aliens that think we are their simulation, maybe they're living a simulation as well.
Ooh. It's like the end of Men in Black when our whole universe is just a marble in a bag.
Yep.
Man. Well, there you go.
No escape.
It turns out, after all, we did not have a legitimate fake, because I made it before I went on vacation, and I promised you we'd have something, and we did. But the fun keeps rolling on. So why don't we go ahead and jump into our news? Now, those of you that have listened long enough, you know the April Fool's gag is somewhat of a tradition around here. And I'm not the only one. Blizzard still, bless their hearts, they still maintain an April Fool's patch note. If you recall, Pandaren were once the subject of an April Fool's gag, and they obviously became real. So you never quite know. There might be something buried in there that has a hint of truth, but once again, Blizzard put theirs out. I thought there was some pretty good ones in here. One of the ones I enjoyed was the new dungeon, the Undermine DMV. This 3-minute long dungeon starts with a minimum 90-minute queue to get into, and there's no way to speed things up. All you needed to do was talk to one boss, and they really could have done the whole encounter on their dungeon website. And as somebody who recently spent 2 hours at the California Department of Motor Vehicles, one of the most famous DMVs, yes, this is true. It was a 2-hour wait for a 3-minute solve, and that's how it goes. Do you know what a DMV is, Jez? Have you experienced an American DMV, or do you have something similar?
I do. I don't. Everything like that in the UK is online. Like when I applied for my provisional, I did it on the internet, and it turned up in the post the next couple of days, right?
Most of our stuff is, but it's when you have a problem. I had a problem with something. Like I had to register my vehicle, and the registration never got processed, and so now I had to go in there with my receipts and my stuff and go, okay, what happened? And they go, oh, well, it was this one thing, and then click.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we have anything equivalent. I mean, we could do. I don't drive, so I don't know. But like, I do know about the DMV from. It's just a huge meme, isn't it? Like, there's a Simpsons thing about it. I actually got to experience the DMV for myself, kind of. There's a quest in Fallout 76 where you have to like, I can't remember exactly what it's for, but you can't get access to something unless you like, register a vehicle or whatever it was. So like it's like a virtual DMV, and it's like with robots running it, and you have to like go back and forth between different computers over and over again and sign forms. I suppose it's supposed to be, I suppose, comedic or whatever. But I was walking around in Undermine earlier, and I did notice that there is a goblin DMV in one of the buildings, I think, which is quite funny. It's not used for anything. It's just flavor, but it's there's all the buildings there have some purpose. I really love Undermine.
Stunning.
Like, it's so detailed. I went in one of the sewer areas earlier, and there's like a little fight club in there. And there's a vendor in there that lets you buy like fighting poses that you can only use in that sewer, which I thought was really interesting. Like a little book that gives you a 30-minute buff, and it's like, assume the fighting pose of a mage, only usable inside this area. And it's like, nice. It's cool, but it's also like, why?
Because we don't have Brawlers Guild, that's why.
Yeah, I guess. It's tantalizing.
Bring that back.
It's kind of wild they haven't brought that back. Because with Delves and all that kind of, the solo content push, it kind of feels like the ideal time to do that. But hey, I mean, we're going to most likely getting Legion Remix in the future, and we are getting Legion Remix. That probably means Legion Tower Remix and Mage Tower Remix, which kind of like the Brawlers Guild, I guess, in difficult soloable content. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see all that come back.
I guess. Brawlers Guild just had its own flavor that I really loved.
Yeah, I guess. But it'll come back. It'll come back.
All right. Well, along the lines of other jokes, we had the new raid, which was the Deeper Cave Below the Bottom. So after years of going down into Azeroth, we're going to go below that. What's below the deepest depth? Only our friends, the Digger Miners, know for sure. So we are accompanying them. They go straight down to capital the bottom and then go down from there. Let's see. What else do we have? We have the new dungeon is an old dungeon. New system Swim. Helps you swim. New system War Couples. I thought this was a good one. Pick 2 characters and assign them a lifelong commitment on the character selection screen with war couples. Unlike war bands, war couples do not share much of anything, even though they've been together for a long time. I like that one. I had some stuff for housing. There's a hard mode. Housing hard mode. Acquire your house while also consuming 1 avocado toast per day and up to 5 lattes per week. If you don't recall, that's a reference to somebody saying somewhere that millennials could afford a house if they just stopped eating avocado toast and drinking 5 lattes every day or something.
Yeah.
The best ones might have been about the cinematics, and I love that they're self-aware about this. Added an option to view all Xal'atath cinematics at italicized 2-foot level. Remove the option to zoom out during Xal'atath cinematics. Fixed a bug with the Xal'atath character model where her shoes were unintentionally visible. The artist who implemented the shoes has been transferred to a different department.
That's funny.
All Xal'atath cinematics are now rated M for maybe not. I did like that. Those were kind of funny. And then, of course, the classes. We always have to have something for the classes. Let's see. What did you? I actually didn't look at the Warlock one. What did you get here?
It was
Warlock,
a nice guy spec.
Yes. Look at that. New talent, good friend.
Yeah.
New talent, chill bro. New talent, cool dude. And new talent, great bud. Oh. That's so warm and fuzzy. They should put that in there.
No.
I think every Warlock would love it. I mean, we got Shoutmaster Warriors. That's what we got. New Warrior talent set, Shoutmaster. Call of Dinner Time, Shriek of the Swifty, Squawk that didn't come out right, and Hello Bellow. And now although I do like this last one. Warriors now yell continuously while charging. Volume increases based on distance travel. They should do that. That should be a glyph. Like, give me my headbutt glyph and then do this. Do this glyph. That would be fantastic. Ian, I know you listen to this show religiously. Make it happen. Outside of that, we had holidays, some other items of bug fixes, but obviously because I do it here, I enjoy the April Fool's gags. I kind of get the sense that they've maybe run their course. Nobody seems to really give a shit anymore, and I almost didn't hear or see anything about the Blizzard one. Maybe this is an age thing where I remember in the old days of the early internet, like this used to be fun and people would have fun, and some people actually would get tricked. I have done a couple things on this show that did fool people. I just want to point this out for clarity's sake, but yeah, I feel like it might have run its course. Am I dialing in right on this, Jez? As the April Fool's gag across the interwebs kind of died a slow death?
I think so. I think it was fun when when Blizzard started doing it, there weren't many gaming companies that really bothered to do it. At least not at the level that Blizzard did. But now everyone does it. So it's sort of I think, the novelty's worn off to some degree, I think. And now everyone does one. And it's also, now that there's so much of it, it's kind of almost irritating. We, at least in my company, we sort of okay, it's April Fool's Day, keep an eye out for bullshit, don't get tricked and all this kind of stuff. So, I don't know. I've kind of been over it for a few years myself. And I kind of think, but I also sit there and think you're just being cynical and grumpy and let people have fun, I try to say that to myself, but I think the general mood, I think, in society is a little bit skewing negative right now.
Oh yeah.
For a variety of reasons. So I think it's kind of like the vibes are off. That's what the kids say, right?
Yeah.
The vibes are off, bro.
No cap. No cap, bro.
No caps.
No cap.
Zero hats.
There's nothing like busting out the Gen Z, Gen Alpha terms to my child, who then just face palms and is like, Dad, that's our people's language. You can't say that. I was like,
I almost want to have a child just for that. and then
It
put
makes
them
a
up
lot
for
of the
adoption.
bullshit worth it. I'm not, I'm not gonna lie. When you bust out a bunch of these terms and you say the word gooning around your child, and your child knows that you know what that means, and they're like,
Oh my
no,
God.
you're like, yeah, I know, bro, I know it all. So thank you, social media, for making that happen. Beyond all of this, what wasn't a prank or April Fool's gag in any way was a while back. Now we're a little late on this just because of vacations and timing and whatnot, but Blizzard put out a pretty detailed post about how they're going about designing and implementing not just the player housing, but the interior design of the player housing and the options that they are trying to give us as we go through building this. And I gotta say, people know, listen for a long time, on this show and other shows, I have mentioned I don't understand player housing. Don't get it. I think it's unnecessary. You can spend that time developing other stuff. I gotta admit, this looks pretty cool. I've only seen how World of Warcraft has been done the way it's been done. I can't really compare it. Things that exist in other games, I don't know about them because I don't really play these other games. So when people talk about player housing, I'm like, fuck if I know. I remember The Sims. That's what I remember, right? But I've never seen anything like that really in World of Warcraft. So getting this blog post where they there were short videos, 10, 15 seconds a piece, I think, that they posted, but they showed not just like a table, but how you could orient a table, where you could put a table, how you could move it around, how you could have all these different options for its colors or textures or all of this stuff. Like, I was pretty blown away, quite frankly, at how advanced all of this was. And so some of the examples that they gave, I had to say, I think I've turned around on this one, Jess.
Yeah, I am so stoked about this because I am the kind of person who will spend ages curating this stuff. Like the other day, like I really love transmog and all that kind of stuff. I'm grinding.
Yeah.
I hate grinding. I really do. But I'm finding myself unable to resist grinding that bloody Matrix cape that you get from Darkfuse Rep in Undermine. And the way you get it is grind, I think it's something like 8,600 market research, which you drop from mobs. And it's like, you have to like basically get in a group on the group finder and just stand there, tagging mobs for hours. I did an hour of it the other day, and I think I got 600 market research after about an hour. So it is like, it's a beefy grind. It's like 20 hours of grinding if you want that Matrix cape, that Matrix chest piece, the trench coat. So yes. I am the kind of person who will absolutely relish this feature. I'm, intrigued about how it affects the game, I suppose, to some degree. And, because even now, I'm on one of Europe's most populated servers, but Orgrimmar is just completely empty. Everyone's either in Dornogal, and the server is so skewed towards Alliance, there's like no Horde people really playing. So Orgrimmar is basically dead. It's like empty, yo.
Oh, man.
And some stuff like player housing is gonna, I suppose, further impact that if everyone's just hanging out in their neighborhoods and stuff. But at the same time, it's kind of like, well, it's already dead, so you can't doubly kill what was already dead, I suppose. But I do wonder, like, maybe this sort of hints that in Midnight, the main city of that expansion is probably just going to be Stormwind and Orgrimmar again. Mm-hmm. Since it's going to take place in Silvermoon and Quel'Thalas and the surrounding, northern eastern kingdoms.
Right.
I want to presume that means they're going to rebuild the Undercity, hopefully. I want to presume that they're going to rebuild Silvermoon, or maybe Silvermoon gets destroyed or something like Dalaran or something, becomes a raid, I don't know. Maybe Undercity becomes a raid, and then Orgrimmar just becomes the de facto only place where the Horde is left. Maybe Ironforge becomes a raid.
Yeah.
I don't know, because presumably speaking, like over the course of that Midnight expansion, they'll probably expand rather than add new zones in other places. They'll probably just expand the reworked zones further south in my head. So it's probably gonna be like, you know, we get everything up to the Thandal span, and this is just my imagination. We get everything up to the Thandal span, wetlands and all that as the main leveling area. Maybe a line starting wetlands and the Horde starting Tirisfal Glades or something like that.
Yeah.
And then maybe over the course of the expansion they add more zones. So, you know, you could have a mid patch cycle update that adds, I don't know, Dunmora with Ironforge as a raid, Searing Gorge, and Blackrock, maybe, and expand all the way down there. Maybe Blackrock becomes a raid tier again. Maybe someone's taken over Blackrock Mountain and they've reworked the Blackwing Lair. I don't know. I'd be down for that. And there's quite a lot they could do, like if they're actually going to remake a lot of these areas. But kind of with that in mind, I suppose those cities will become populated again, like Stormwind. Well, Stormwind's already populated on my server. It's overpopulated with half-naked Draenei, apparently. But I play on an RP server, you know.
Well, there you go.
Just for reference. So,
the RP freaks.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe it won't be so bad. Maybe it's just the way it is going forward. Because I suppose if the expansion after this is Northrend, but Dalaran's been blown up, and Dalaran was the main city in Northrend in Wrath. So is Orgrimmar just going to be the main city again with the teleporter? I mean,
good question.
I could see it.
That's a good question. Yeah, I'm sure with everything being, you know, it's a data-driven existence now, so I'm sure they know how many people hang out and what locations or what's popular or what's not or this and that. But, you know, we talked about, because you can't escape completely the comparisons between the garrison and the player housing. And with garrisons, right, everybody was just wanting to stay in their garrison, so you never saw anybody, and that's what it was. But, you know, with player housing, they've said, well, we don't want to do services, like no barbershops, no mailboxes, no certain things, or I don't know, maybe they'll do mailboxes, but you got to like leave the house to go get it or something. Like they're going to try to find a healthy balance between why you would stay there and why you would leave. But I'm looking at what they've posted already, and I know, because I'll get sucked into this, if I've got 500 things I got in a house that I've got to place, or I've got all these options, I'm going to be in there forever. Like, it's going to take me 3 days just to figure out what I want my table to look like, where I want to put my dining table, what kind of chairs I want. Do we have any kind of cushions to put on them? Is there a runner that needs to go on the table? Is there a centerpiece that can go on the table? Do I need to put out any place settings before I have that table? You know, am I looking at 8 place settings? Do I only do it on the side? Do I do it on the side that's on the end? Do I do it just like on the ends? Is there like a candelabra situation somewhere? Like, that's one fucking table. It's going to take me forever just for that one thing. And then there's going to be a bed and a bookcase and a this and a that. And they, you know, one of the things they posted was like a mocked up floor plan. And I'm looking at this going, I will probably end up grinding some odd random thing, because much like the Big Lebowski, there's going to be that one rug that ties the room together, and I'm going to have it. And, you know, that's just what we're going to do. And so I'm looking at this whole huge thing that they have. And mind you that they did mention that the interior of the house will not match the exterior. And I'm not quite sure what that means, other than it'll probably look smaller than it, you know, it is once you go inside of it, and it's got all these rooms, it's got all the, you know, this customization that you can do. But I'm looking at just what they have here in this pretty decent sized layout. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like 5 rooms, and then I don't know, is that a bathroom in the corner? Maybe I'm not quite sure, but because there has to be an outhouse or something somewhere. You know there has to be. This is a ton of stuff, and they've been pretty explicit about, it's not even just the items themselves. It's things like the flooring and the wallpaper and like what's on this, I think on the ceiling. Like it's it's kind of overwhelming. Like, I didn't think it was going to be like this. I'll be honest. I did not think it was going to be like this. And now I understand, finally, I guess, why this is such a big deal. And you'll have to be the judge of this, Jez, but this seems to me, if they keep going down the road they're going on based on this blog post, if they keep going down the road, this seems to me like this should satisfy what people want this to be in terms of its depth and complexity. But am I wrong about that?
No, I think like one of the big issues with a game like WoW or any online game. I mentioned Fallout 76 earlier, and Fallout 76 obviously being like a sort of soft MMO kind of set in the Fallout universe, which I play on and off sometimes. It's nowhere I can't help in my head but keep comparing it to WoW, in terms of like the features and the balance and the itemization and that kind of stuff. And I just keep sitting there thinking, oh, WoW does this better, WoW does that better, But the one thing that obviously Fallout 76 does very, very well is the housing system, because they just brought it over from Fallout 4. You can make your own little apocalypse shelter, and there's like thousands of items you can put in there now after 7 years. So, they're they've got a blueprint from other games about what the expectation is and what the minimum level of quality is. And one thing that I do think Blizzard tries to do every time they make a game, no matter what game it is, they try to make it the best, best in class, and, StarCraft was best in class, World of Warcraft was best in class, Overwatch was best in class, Diablo 4, debatably best in class, I suppose, depending on who you ask. But it's that's sort of Blizzard's philosophy about some of this stuff. And more than ever, since Kotick's gone, their thought process is like, if we can't at least be on par with the best out there, we shouldn't even bother trying, right?
Yeah.
And you can see that reflected in the fact they cancelled Odyssey. So Project Odyssey was cancelled a couple of years ago. It was supposed to be a survival kind of game. I suppose similar in vein to Fallout 76. First-person shooter, but fairy tale in nature. You play like archers and things like that, and fantasy stuff. It was like a fairy tale kind of game. They decided this isn't shaping up to be best in class, so instead of ship a subpar product, they cancelled that thing. And obviously Blizzard has shipped subpar products in the past, Warcraft 3, Reforged, notwithstanding. Yeah. That was like stark outlier, I think. So it does seem like with player housing, they've just been like, look, if we're going to do this, we've got to make it, top tier. It's got to be on par with or better than Fallout 76, Final Fantasy 14, and other games that have these kind of systems. And it certainly looks to me like they're approaching that, I think. The one thing that makes me nervous about it is they're going to backdate. They're going to use your sort of feats of strength to backdate some of the features in this stuff. So, if you killed Onyxia back in the day, for example, you should have an Onyxia trophy when this system goes live that you can stick up on the wall. And I'm sitting there thinking like, because I've been playing this character for 20 years now at this point.
Yeah.
How much stuff am I going to have to fit into this space? How many body parts of dragons that I've killed am I going to be putting into this building?
I've got a scale that I ripped off of Homeboy's back in Cataclysm somewhere. Gotta have a piece of Deathwing like propped up against the wall.
Yeah, or like a piece of his jaw or something. I don't know. It's really exciting the way they're gonna do this. I mean, even Fallout 76, like some of the raid bosses you can kill in that game, they do drop blueprints and plans that you can turn into trophies that you can stick up on the wall in your house. That's one of the cool things about the game, like building your house and shit. So, but yeah, Fallout 76 doesn't do a lot of the other stuff particularly well. They only just added fishing to Fallout 76. That was like announced yesterday.
I saw you got very excited about that.
Yeah, I love fishing in games. Actually, World of Warcraft's fishing isn't the best. That's something that could improve upon.
Mm.
So maybe that's coming after housing. I don't know. A new fishing system, but yeah, I'm pretty excited about it, man.
Yeah, you'll need to have more fishing trophies up on the wall.
True
So
that.
you'll have to go fishing. But yeah, it's best in class. That's probably that's a great way to put it. It certainly seems to be how they're attacking it, and yeah, that's one of the questions I've had predominantly since they first showed the original teaser for this, is going back over, let's see, an 18-year player career myself for Warcraft at this point. Berserker's got a lot of gear. Like, been through a lot, seen a lot, done a lot, killed a lot. What of that is coming with me? But also, what else is to come? Because clearly there's going to be, I think, blueprints you mentioned. That's probably the best way to think about things right now, is there's going to be other things that drop. There's going to be other things you want. There's going to be, I'm sure, stuff that comes in a collector's edition and stuff that comes in the shop, special for the season. There's going to be stuff in the trading post. I mean, there's going to be things everywhere.
There'll be profession
And-
stuff too, probably.
Profession
Like,
stuff.
Blacksmiths
go.
can make a special decorative sword or something. I don't know.
I just want a place to, I want a weapons rack. That's it. That's all I need. Just one just stump in the middle to sit on, and like a one log fire in a corner and a weapons rack. That's it. I can sleep on the floor than anything else. That's it. None of this other stuff is, no, I'm lying. I'm going to be in this place for months and weeks and years, and I may never do anything else again. This may be all I do. Like, this is crazy. This is so much work. But anyway, it was great to see all of this development and finally get a better sense of the scope and scale of what they've actually been working on. And I gotta say, I think the worm has turned for me in possibly the best way. So, if you haven't seen it, blog is out there. It's been out there for about a month now, so feel free to go check it out. About the interior design philosophy they have for player housing coming in midnight. Switching gears completely, Jez, I fired up Battle.net Thursday night. Got back from vacation, hadn't had a chance to play yet, so me and the homie Rommel have a standing date Thursday nights. Fired it up. And what do I see splashed across the front page right there? Full advertisement for me to see on Battle.net is an ad and a prompt for me to buy Doom: The Dark Ages, which,
Yeah,
last I checked, is not a Blizzard game.
it certainly isn't.
It's one I'm very interested in, and I know you got a lot more to share here in a minute about it. But I have to say, I am not used to seeing these non-Blizzard titles yet popping up on Battle.net. It's still a little like, did I click Steam? Did I click the wrong thing? Like, what did I just open here? But this is the way now, isn't it? This is the Microsoft ecosphere, right?
Yeah, like, I've spoken to people at Microsoft about this and like what they're doing, and their reaction is pretty much like, it's an experiment. We want to see if Blizzard fans would be interested in some of this stuff. 'Cause Blizzard, there are Battle.net users who pretty much only use Battle.net. So the thought process is like, maybe, and to the tune of tens of millions, right? We think
Yeah.
of Steam as being the dominant platform on PC, and it is overall, but
Yeah.
they only represent 50% of the footfall on PC. You've got a lot of footfall in dedicated launchers, like the Riot client, for example, or Hoyoverse Home, or whatever it's called, for things like Genshin Impact. Then you've got PC Game Pass coming up too, and then you've got Battle.net, which has, tens of millions of users.
Right.
I don't know if the figures are public or not, so maybe I shouldn't share those. But I was really surprised about how many people are actually in that, actively using that ecosystem. Across games like Overwatch, World of Warcraft, so on and so forth. And the small but sustainable player bases on StarCraft and Heroes of the Storm as well, and then obviously Diablo when the seasons ebb and flow there too. So I suppose their thought process is like, can we weave some of these single player experiences into the mix too? And I think they've been, generally speaking, quite cautious about what they specifically put in there. They put Avowed in there, which is obviously a Microsoft title. They're putting Doom in there, which is also a Microsoft title now, since Microsoft purchased ZeniMax. I've heard rumors that one of Microsoft's more popular service games is also potentially coming to Battle.net in the near future as well. One that actually, I think, quite fits the Battle.net style, so that should be interesting to see if that comes true. And then there's also like other stuff probably coming down the pipeline as well. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4, I think, is listed on Battle.net, which is launching in the summer. So Activision kind of started this, right? They put Call of Duty in there, they put Crash Bandicoot in there.
And that was weird when that happened.
Yeah, it was. And I suppose the good thing is that on Battle.net, at least you can sort of, hide those icons if you don't want to see them. If you click on the icon and then right click, you can select remove from favorites. But I do wonder, because this, when you click on the plus symbol to get the list up, it's becoming a long list, man. I kind of feel like they're going to have to start like exploring other ways of managing this stuff. If you click on the game section, it is starting to look a little bit Steam-like with the big, icons for the different games, and
it is a bit bloated.
All that stuff, I click all games, and then we've got Doom there, Call of Duty, which I don't replay, Avowed, Diablo Immortal, which I completely forgot was on PC actually.
So did I.
Warcraft Rumble beta is on PC too, so that's on the way. And you've got older games like Warcraft Remastered. I need to go and play those, man. The classic Warcraft games.
I highly recommend it.
So I think like over the next year, that's gonna, you're gonna see even more of that, I think. And I sit here thinking like, well, what about the Xbox app on Windows? You've got that too. Like, are you competing with that with yourself? Like, what's the plan here?
Question.
Because I will say this, I think Battle.net is a much better app than the Xbox app.
I've never used the Xbox app, so I'll take your word for it.
Go and try it. It's
okay.
It's just slow.
You're really
and
selling
not pretty and stuff. I don't know. It's gotten better, but it's still not as good as Battle.net. But maybe it's not as good as Battle.net because Battle.net only has a few games in it. But that looks like it's going to change.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I remember when we started seeing that merge with Call of Duty, and I'm like, man, this just fucking feels weird. And yeah, over time, right, you were able to hide things, and so all I ever see is just, my Warcraft and StarCraft and Diablo and Overwatch, all our normal stuff, Blizzard side. But seeing Doom, was a little jarring. Part of it is because I love this franchise so fucking much, and it's something that's been around a majority of my life, having come out, a million years ago in its original iteration, but then the revival that happened in 2016 with this latest sort of run for it. It's just such a phenomenal franchise right now, and it's so self-aware. Like, it knows what it is, and it doesn't shy away from it, and it just gets more metal and more gory and more fucked up as you go, and it's so much fun just ripping and tearing and doing all the stuff you do, and the soundtracks were always just the most metal of all. And so personally seeing that come across, I'm like, am I being targeted for this? Like, do they just know that I need to see this because they absolutely know I'm going to buy this, or is this just happenstance? I think it was probably just happenstance, but, very excited.
Are you going to buy it through Battle.net then?
I might. I don't know. I look at the price and I'm like, $70 for a standard game. I mean, I get it. But then I see like premium edition, and I'm such a whore for all these things. And so I'm like, I don't know. Am I really going to drop $100 on this? And, so it's more about like the equivocation that's happening in my mind right now, especially coming after vacation when I don't want to spend one more dime right now than I possibly have to, considering how much I left back on Maui. But yeah, it's possible. It's possible, but I will be getting it. at some point because not only was I excited just by all the, preview stuff that they did in the cinematic and blah, 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 but I recently read an article. It was by you, Jez, where
me?
you got. Yeah, it was by you. You got to get hands-on experience with the damn thing, and now I'm even more pumped up based on your experience, which sounded super fucking awesome. So I know that this is a Warcraft show, but listen, this Doom shit got fed to me on a Battle.net launcher, so it is tied in somehow. How was that, buddy?
Well, you did say it's not a Warcraft show, so I will keep it succinct, but it was fucking awesome, man. So, Doom Dark Ages is it's like a prequel, right? It's set on if you're familiar with the lore of the reboot, it's set on Argent D'Nur, which is it's an extra dimensional planet where medieval-ish, but also simultaneously advanced humans kind of live. And there's a sort of implication that the Argent D'Nur colonized Earth at some point, and that's why there's humans there. It's a bit vague, I think, in the lore right now, but that's kind of like the hint, right? And they're sort of like they're being vassalized or colonized by a super interdimensional alien race called the Makers, I think they're called, or the Maker or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they've sort of enslaved or indentured the Doomslayer, the Doom guy, right? And the forces of hell, they ain't happy about this. They don't like the humans being partnered up with these aliens, so they're trying to split them up. They're trying to spread their culty kind of ways. They're using spies, cults, all kinds of things. Very Burning Legion-esque with their strategies, Send sleeper agents in and try and manipulate the locals and then invade, right, when everyone's in some sort of political chaos. And that's kind of like where Doom sets off. There's a big war going on. And I think the theme of this is kind of like, whereas like in Doom Eternal and Doom 2016, you're kind of like a one-man army, right? Well, in this one, I got more of a Halo feel from it, man. Because you're not alone, technically speaking. You are sort of like, you're being wielded as a weapon by the humans and Argent D'Nur, the Sentinels. And so like, while you are ripping and tearing, there's also this huge war going on in the background, with sci-fi ships and all that kind of stuff. And it really did give me a Halo vibe. But the death metal edition, So there was all that stuff popping off. But the real headline act here is the new boots on the ground gameplay, which is the Source Shield, right? Which is your new sort of
it's crazy.
Yeah, it's a shield with a saw embedded in the edge, and you can turn it on like a chainsaw. So you can use it as a shield to parry incoming projectiles, and when you do that parry, it sort of staggers the enemy if you time it well. The parry window is very generous, so you're not going to have a hard time parrying any projectiles, I don't think. But there is a cooldown on it, so you have to sort of be careful not to waste it, I suppose you could say. And when you parry this stuff, you can do you can start doing your executions, your ripping and tearing, and all that kind of good stuff. And it was very, very good. It felt like heavier. Doom Guy is more of a knight in this one. He's not doing. There's no monkey bars. There's no acrobatics. There's not as much raw platforming. It's a lot more like we want to sort of return to that sort of strafing, not slow, but heavier kind of gameplay. And you can feel that with his walking. Like when he's walking, the ground's thundering under his weight of his armor and stuff like that. So, and then you get a mace on a ball and chain, which is super fun. It replaces the melee attack, the punch. Once you unlock it, I think you unlock it partway through the game, and then you mash demons' heads in with this huge mace. It's really fun. But there was something that I didn't like. The dragon gameplay. So if you've seen the flying. If you've seen like the trailers, you'll know that there is like, because it's sort of like a wider, more open world kind of at least some of the levels are wider. They wanted to do like offer multiple perspectives. So instead of just being interior linear, they wanted to do some levels that were more open and you fly around them and you get a bigger sense of scale, right? Which I think is fine and could, you know, could break up the game a little bit, you know, here and there. But the problem is I really hated the dragon gameplay. Like the guns on the dragon felt bad compared to Doomslayer's regular weapons. The guns didn't feel good, and the flying felt a bit stiff. And also, you can only do like the power attack when you've parried a projectile, but the enemies don't use their projectile sometimes. So I found myself just sitting there waiting sometimes for a projectile to come towards me. And that it felt like a traffic light, you know, red light, green light kind of thing. Especially because the projectiles were often red or green, you know. So
got it.
I was like,
oh man,
they've overthought the dragon a little bit. I think. I don't think it adds much to the game, and hopefully they'll make it feel a little bit punchier. But it was a minor gripe, and I don't think it's going to be a huge part of the game. It just kind of you use it to fly from point A to point B, and then do a bit more doom slaying, right? I actually was sitting there thinking, man, WoW's flying feels better than this.
Dragon riding has ruined you.
Yeah, kind
Gift
of.
Dragon riding.
I compare all games to WoW. It's like a meme on my other podcast. Like everyone's like, "Oh God, stop talking about WoW." But genuinely, I think WoW's flying actually felt better.
It's awesome.
But it's also like, dude, this is like a 20-year-old engine. They've bolted flying onto this engine, and this modern game has sort of not delivered that. It's like what we were talking about with housing, right? Blizzard wanted that to be best in class, so it didn't just feel like tacked on. And I think the issue with the dragon riding this is that it does come off as feeling a bit tacked on. But there's still time for them to tweak it, maybe add some sound effects and just, you know, visual effects in general. Because that was one of my issues with it. Like the guns on it didn't look good. So, but overall, it was fantastic, you know, and I can't wait to play the full thing. I actually started playing Doom 2016 again as a replay for that.
It's so smooth.
So good. So good.
Hits that groove in the brain. But yeah, so if you want to hear more about Jez's first-hand encounter with the Dark Ages, it does have an article up currently on windowscentral.com. And yeah, it's the aesthetic is so great. You know, the
they
Doom
nailed
guys,
the visuals so good.
Oh my god, it's he alone has always been cool, and the way that they did it in the 2016 reboot version was just a massive sort of upscale of the classic thing that we knew. But this aesthetic, man, I never thought that just taking the Doom guy and throwing like, I don't know, like a fur on his back and giving him a shield was gonna give me like the, you know, half chub that I've got. But I mean, it's so good. Like, it's just like, I didn't think they could make this any cooler, and they did. So how dare you throw this up on my BattleNet launcher, because you know I'm gonna break down, because I just have no willpower when it comes to this stuff. But yeah, very cool. You know, I'm glad you got to see it, and yeah, curious.
Me too, man.
Folks give a shit or not, whether that comes across their purview. A couple of other sort of business-related things I wanted to touch on is, one, I thought it was interesting that they were getting rid of guild name change service. They're getting rid of that from the shop. You can still do it in game for 200,000 gold, but they're getting rid of that in shop. Jez, is this sort of a move to, are we just putting everything in game because there's no difference between real money and gold anymore?
I think that might be part of it, but I also just think most people probably just don't use the service, and they're like, this is a waste of a yeah, like I never, people don't change their guild names, generally speaking. The only times I can think of when a guild's changed their name is when they've been forced to because they had something inappropriate, right? So I think it's probably just a case of we're wasting, you know, SQL Server entries with this, so let's get rid of it. Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe it's being abused for some reason.
I don't know. I just think it's just a case of nobody's using it, let's get rid of it, rather than have it there, sitting there doing nothing. That's my take on it. But Yeah, maybe someone's hacking it or something. Maybe it's being used to DDoS the servers, because I don't know if you
Maybe that's it.
I don't know if you saw this, but
I did.
people were DDoSing the fine folks at OnlyFans, the hardcore guild, trying to get them all killed and make them lose their characters. That was a big drama. I don't know if we talked about much, but
we haven't talked about it since it happened, but I did see that. That was, I mean, it's not my bag, but that's pretty fucked up.
It is fucked up, yeah.
Did they roll that back or no?
They did. They rolled it back on that occasion, but they said they're gonna avoid making this a habit, basically, because obviously, like, the whole point of hardcore is that it's hardcore, you know, and you sort of like, if you lag out, and you just have to accept that that's life, you know. But it does raise a good point. It's when it's like an outside malicious force, like these trolls or whatever, which I have no idea why do this? It's like so strange to me. Like,
I don't have anything better to do.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out, like, is OnlyFans controversial in some way? Like, is this like, sort of like revenge or something? But it doesn't seem so. It just seems like some assholes being assholes for the sake of being assholes.
They were popular for some reason, and then
and they post all the clips of hardcore, don't they? I saw a clip of a lass. Oh man, how did she die now? I can't remember. She died in a kind of a stupid way, like fell in the lava or something like that. And she was really upset because it was like just before Blackwing Lair dropped, and she was going to run Blackwing Lair or something like that. And I was like, oh man, that must be so painful. Like,
and deal with that kind of stress. That's too much.
Yeah, I'm sitting there thinking, this is why I don't play hardcore.
Yes.
Oh,
you know,
man.
It's funny. My son has the classic hardcore shirt that I got him because the design was super cool, and I can't remember if I ordered it or I got it at BlizzCon for him. But like he tromps around the house all the time with that thing on, and every time I see it, I think to myself, I could never do it. I could never do it. I'd get 3 levels in and be like, this is my anxiety would be through the roof the entire time. Like I would just constantly be running away from things, and like I wouldn't really be playing the game. I would just be in fear the entire time that all my time was wasted and my character was gonna die.
I did Diablo hardcore very briefly. I did it on stream with a friend, and because in my head it's like, oh, Diablo's easy, you know, I can't see myself dying in Diablo hardcore.
Yeah.
And then lo and behold,
they got you.
Couple of fuck ups on one of the bosses, and then slapped with AoE, and then GG. You know,
that's what
lost
they do.
The character.
These fuckers. Yeah. Oh Lord. Well, there's your lesson. There's your other lesson. Don't go to Claire's and don't do hardcore. That's just you know, don't do any of these things. What you can do though is if you do go over to the Blizzard shop, which sometimes I do recommend. Right now they do have some gear with iconic images that were drawn by show favorite and personal you know, if he's not my personal lord and savior like Metzen is, he might be, I don't know, number 2, Samwise Didier. Some pieces of his art. It's one of his original Illidan drawings, one of his original orc drawings, a Tauren. They have like a sweatshirt, and there's some art, an art version that you can get. There's a decal pack that you could get. Some pretty cool stuff. And, you know, as we've talked about, Samwise Didier, probably more than anyone, even more than Metzen perhaps, is responsible for the iconic art style of World of Warcraft. And he retired or left, or however you want to word it, some time ago from Blizzard. But I thought this was kind of a nice thing for them to do, is bring some of these classic designs back, because it is, I mean, it's as much a part of the fabric of the game as anything else, no pun intended. So if you're interested, there's an orc hoodie for $80. There's the, well, it says Night Elf shirt, but I mean, it's Illidan, let's be real. For $40. There's the Tauren poster, which is an 18 by 24 inch poster, so decent size. $25. Sticker sheet is $12, and the entire Samwise sketch bundle, $152 US. So, you know, convert that into wherever you are. But Not my favorite designs, I will say. So I probably will not be getting in on this. But I also have one of his fine art pieces right behind me here of Arthas in his Lich King gear. So I have some gear. I already have my Samwise gear that I really want. Before we head out of here, we are going to cut this episode just a touch short because we're doing this one a little bit on the fly here today as we record. But I wanted to bring to folks' attention that recently Blizzard had announced the winners of their WoW student art contest. And there's some really cool stuff in here. Some scenes that were created, some creatures, items, animation, effects. Like it's legit. Like some of this stuff they need to put in game, and they sometimes I think they do. But the future is in good hands. I'll save the trading post for the next episode. So for now, let's go to our final piece and hit some Q&A. Jez, you want to do some questions and answers here?
Let's do it.
All right. So first up, we have two questions today. The first is, this comes from Brother Navox on Discord. What kind of help is available out there for people who have recurring dreams about missing timers on keystones? And to that I say, don't do them. That's my advice to you.
Oh man,
that is the help that I can offer. But Jez, do you have any more practical services?
well, as a recent Keystone Master, got my shiny mount. Or was that Keystone Hero? I can never remember. I got the mount basically, 2000 rating.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's a very, very nice mount. But I had to get that mount. I'm doing everything this patch because it's Goblin. You know, it's absolutely had to do it. I would say I actually have a clip. Although we don't do a video version of the podcast, so we have talked about it here and there, but maybe in the future. But I do have a clip of me completing a keystone with like literally 2 seconds to spare on the clock. I was going to edit that together and put it on socials, but although that me telling you that is not going to help you with the recurring dreams, I would say check into Mr. Sunshine's therapy in Azkahet, and that will maybe that will help you out. I don't know his prices, but make sure you've got some cage handy, I suppose, and then you can go and get some nice therapy, I suppose.
There it is, practical advice. Second up, we have from Gamsley, also in our Discord. Do we see publishers that have existing live services pivot back to sequels? Do we see a WoW 2? Maybe WoW 2 will just be a completely different vibe decades after the current timeline? I don't know. I'll kick this to you first, Jez. You're the industry insider. Do you think we see publishers going back?
I think in some cases, maybe. I think, like, for example, Apex Legends right now, I think has really dropped off. And I think having a sequel to Apex Legends, like Apex Legends 2, is something, if they nailed it well, is something that could revive interest in the game. But we've also seen the flip side of that when a sequel fucks up a live service game with Overwatch. So Overwatch 2 needn't have even existed. And if you believe the current rumors, there are rumors right now that they might even be retiring the Overwatch 2 name, basically erasing the whole experiment from history. Yeah, so there is like...
That would be smart.
Yeah, I don't know. There was like some code strings recently, people data mined, which showed that the some Overwatch 2 strings had been just renamed to Overwatch. Could be nothing, but it could also just be like, yeah, they're getting rid of that shit. So I think it's a double-edged sword. I think when a game is run its course completely, a sequel can help revive things. CSGO is a good example. TF2 is obviously a good example, and all that kind of stuff. But executed poorly can be a nightmare. And I don't think with World of Warcraft, I don't think it'd work. There's 20 years of fairly well curated content there. And obviously there's issues with continuity when it comes to leveling ults and shit like that. But I think Blizzard will over time improve that, and I think keeping that world together is probably something they would rather do than make a sequel. Making a sequel to World of Warcraft would be an absurd undertaking in the current year, and if they fucked it up, it would be a huge risk. I mean, Final Fantasy XIV was supposed to replace Final Fantasy XI as an MMO, and when that launched, it was an absolutely colossal failure, and it was such a huge failure that it almost buried Square Enix. They had to invest tens of millions of dollars to basically rebuild the whole game, and to their credit, they pulled it back around, but it was touch and go for quite a long time. So I think we'll see a mix of sequels and a mix of staying the course wherever it makes sense, but I don't think we'll see an industry-wide pivot to sequels.
Yeah, Warcraft is almost it's its own thing.
It is.
It's 20 years old. They're planning for another 20. I mean, if you take them at their word, and let's just take this out to its logical conclusion here. If you have a 40-year-old game that is a live service 40-year-old game, like we can't even fathom what that looks like. That it's so far out there in the future, and who knows, the planet might blow up between now and then, but if you have a 40-year-old game that's still running and still has millions of people on it and has gone through all these other adventures and different things, like, I don't know, maybe after all of us are dead and the people who played Warcraft, like the original World of Warcraft, are no longer around, maybe, you know, say, hey, in the Dark Ages, there was a game and it was very popular, and now 50 years after the last subscriber has died, we're bringing it back, and you know, now there's this whole other thing.
Well, classic.
Classic. That's the only way that I could see them making a sequel to World of Warcraft, is if all of the current subscriber base was dead and nobody remembered it, and it had been like long been out. Like, I'm talking about like our grandchildren's lifetimes. I mean, it's just such a weird thing to have a game that's been around that long.
Yeah. Really
being actively developed. It just, you can't really compare it. Whereas, you know, you also bring up Overwatch. What a debacle this Overwatch. I mean, from the get-go, I remember being there at, you know, watching the BlizzCon presentation and Overwatch 2. Okay, Overwatch 2. Okay, why do you need to have a 2? Why don't you just keep working on the shit you already have? Like, it was so, and then it's just not been good, and they don't have a league anymore, and like just the whole thing just kind of collapsed. And I know there's other factors for that, but like the whole thing just collapsed. And yeah, it's, for some of them, as you pointed out, it could revive something if it's dead, but if you got something that's good, like, don't fuck it up. Don't bifurcate your audience. Just keep going. So hopefully that provides some quality answers for you there, Gamsley.
We need like a jingle for the Q&A section. It kind of threw me because like all the other sections have like a little jingle. Q&A, a jingle for Q&A, bro.
I can do it. We'll figure something out for the Q&A.
Yeah.
Do you want it? We'll workshop this right now. Do you want this jingle to be something that is serious or unserious?
I don't know. Maybe it should be the most metal Q&A jingle ever.
There it is. All right. I will work on that between now and then, and I will get a most metal jingle for our Q&A section, so that way we'll have the properly demarcated here on Unshackled Fury. All right. I think we've done enough damage for one episode. For those who don't already know, where can the good people find you out on the internet, Jez?
Yeah, so you can find me over at windowscentral.com/Xbox or /author Jez Corden. Or you can find me at jezcorden.com for all my social links and all that kind of stuff. I just linked to jezcorden.com now. It's much easier than saying at Jez, JZCORDEN, you know.
I miss the Z. I like the Z because we don't get that here. We just say Z. We're not as
Z.
So.
Z.
Sucker. All right. My thanks to you, of course, my friend, and to all of you as well for listening. And remember, you can always follow me and this show on Twitter at Berserker Rage and Unshackled_Fury, on Blue Sky at Berserker and Unshackled Fury, as well as on Twitch at Unshackled Fury and Real Berserker. You can also join our Discord, where we get all our lovely metal Q&A questions, links for which are in the profile of the show on Twitter and on our website, unshackledfury.com. Feel free to contact the show with your questions, comments, or otherwise through any of those resources, or email us at unshackledfuryshow@gmail.com. And you can find this show wherever you get your podcasts. So once again, thank you for listening. Remember to keep your swords wet and your banners high, and we'll see you next time. Farewell.